Gamers, what's something lots of video games do that annoys you? Making me repeat an easy but tedious part over and over, just to get to the hard part to try again. Throw an unreasonable amount of worthless loot at you, because gamers love loot, while also giving you a highly restrictive bag size or weight limit. Borderlands. Brilliant game. I could play it hours on end, day after day, but oh my god. If I want to trade for an expensive weapon, I'd better keep going back to that pile of corpses to loot their guns and sell them to the vendor 10 at a time, and I need to do it 6 times and I can almost afford the gun, and I'm going back to the pile for the last time and the gun's no longer available, god damn it. This is why I have a second character that I pull in, just as a pack mule. When increasing difficulty just means enemies take less damage and you take more damage, no change in AI skill. I'm looking at you, Elder Scrolls. See also, 5 headshots with a sniper rifle doesn't kill an enemy soldier. Edit, spelling. And yes, making more intelligent AI is probably a lot of work. I'm no game dev, but you have to throw us something. / That's something I'm wondering about with the Uncharted series, where guys get hit with a machine gun 4 or 5 times and never even stagger. What are you shooting them with? A paintball gun? Duck that. Paintball guns make you stagger. A forced on multiplayer or single player component that's only there because it was on the checklist, or something like Hitman was doing before the patch, where it was straight up single player with a leaderboard that you needed to constantly stay connected to servers for. Tomb Raider 2. Just what this exploration / survival / adventure game needs. A FPS team deathmatch mode. Edit, sorry. Third person shooter. Insurmountable waist-high fences, or little baby trees, or knee-high ledges, or small cracked rocks / geodudes, or unavoidable fights. Fuck you. My Pokemons are weak. Geo fuck yourself. Or my Pokemon Shappa shifting into Lapras when going into the water. Or Scyther not being able to fly while it's perfectly normal to ride a Pidgey. Or the unfucking imaginable amount of Zubats in a cave. So many that their density would have probably caused a gravitational field so strong it would have sucked Hone into a black hole the size of the developer's mom. Duck Zubats. Driving games where street signs or small shrubs have the properties of a 50-ton concrete block. Edit, the original Dirt is where I experienced this the most, or where only some of the environment is destructible. Too many GTA games where you can plow through fire hydrants like they're nothing but grow all their hedges out of adamantium. Yeah, I really ducking hurt the hedges. Have shitty menus. It's gotten worse since like 2010. I don't know how people screw up something so simple, but they manage. Halo Reach was the best one I've ever seen and nothing since then has rivaled it. We are sending a chopper to pick you up. RPG hits helicopter every goddamn time. Ever realize how many concussions you get in Call of Duty storylines? Like, in all of them, every ending of every level is you getting knocked out, and the beginning of every new level is you waking up. Every Cody character pre-Bo 1 was a mute narcoleptic. Now we're talking narcoleptics. Soap learned how to speak in MW2. True. I think he meant Cody player characters though. You don't play as Soap in MW2 until the final mission and he doesn't speak when you play as him. The AI's rules are not the same as my rules. I hate cheating AIs. When they remastered Age of Empires 2 they fixed the AI cheat. The AI actually got a lot harder, but they no longer cheat. Edit, the AI on the harder difficulties used to cheat by gaining additional resources. They'd periodically get more wood, food, gold, etc. I miss AoE. Wish they'd make another one. Unskippable cutscene before a difficult boss. I don't want to watch it again. It's fine if you have to watch the cutscene the first time, but if you die, you should be able to skip it. That's perfectly fair to me. Conker's Bad Fur Day did that, if I recall correctly. Goddamn did I love that game. If I had to pick one game that got reworked as is to a new console, it'd be that. I'm aware of the rework that was done, but the multiplayer was all stupid and FPS like. Where was the immigrant defense? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? My friends and I spent ages playing the multiplayer. Fond memories. right? The sheer nonsense of it. The bank heists one where the intro ripped off Reservoir Dogs. The Nazi Teddy's Immigrant Beach Assault were our favorites. To this day I call Sniper Rifle Snippy Snapper, and our friend group will make the immigrant sound. We are all 30, haha. Really obvious, make a decision now. Points. I like the decision making to feel like part of playing the game. The worst offender for me was Star Wars The Force Unleashed. It promised alternative endings which turned out to mean a single decision made right at the end, which gives you one of two alternative cutscenes. Share this to your Facebook. Yeah, because everyone's probably dying to know about my virtual accomplishment. They'd probably just be like, hey, this guy is on level 200 UN Candy Crush. Damn. He really needs a life. Apostrophe. Excessive grinding. Especially when there's very little variance in mobs / dungeons / scenery / animations / quests / etc. Excessive grinding is okay in skating simulators though. We want Skate 4. Invisible walls. At least put up some rocks or crates or something. Not this immersion breaking force field shit. Our Resident Evil. The special forces cops that couldn't jump over knee-high barriers. Right up there with the flimsy door is locked and impeding your progress. Find the key when your character literally has a couple of heat grenades to spare, or they can't perform some minor technical task like opening a cabinet when they have a multi-tool modeled on their webbing. This is one of the things I love about playing tabletop RPGs like D&D. The DM can't get away with lazy environment design like that. I found this out the hard way in my first campaign. DM, exiting the cave. You find yourselves on a rocky ledge roughly halfway up a seaside cliff. You hear waves crashing against the jagged rocks you estimate to be nearly 100 foot below. The ledge follows the natural bend of this cliff, curving out of sight after about 80 feet. This appears to be the clear way forward. Rogue, I scale the cliff. DM, wait, what? Rogue, yeah, I scale the cliff. You said we were about halfway up, and that's about 100 foot from the bottom or top. We've got a couple hundred feet of rope between us. I have a set of pitons in my backpack, and I've got expertise in climbing. It should only take me like 30 seconds to climb up. DM, sweats. Unfortunately for me, I wasn't really great at improvising back then either. I miss my DM days. My players would always duck things up in special ways, so I spent my days coming up with increasing sadistic ways to ruin them. You're the most badass. Elite soldier known to all humanity, but you touch a body of water with your shoe and it's instant death. You're the most badass. Elite soldier known to all humanity, but you touch a body of water with your shoe and it's instant death. You're the most badass. Elite soldier known to all humanity and everyone acts like you're just another nobody. UHH. I kill dragons with my voice. I'm the Archmage of the Wizard School. I've helped conquer this country for one faction or the other. I'm the leader of the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood. Let's keep those ones between us, and I can kill you and everyone you've ever met, and go back to eating my sandwich. I've murdered more people than the plague. I'm the Thane of this, and every other city. I'm holding a sword I've enchanted so much I can cut the earth in half. I can change the ducking weather. I can rain death down upon you with a thought. Don't act like you're not impressed. So you can cast a few spells. Am I supposed to be impressed? Okay. So you can cast a few spells. That don't impress me much. You've got the magic, but have you got the touch? Don't get me wrong, cause I think you're alright. But that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. But that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. Uses incinerate. Had her as soon as I typed that line I expected someone who'll respond with some sort of fire generating spell. Thank you for not disappointing. When you have to follow an AI character in a game, and if you get too close they see you instantly, and if you are too far away you lose them. Assassin's Creed is particularly infuriating for this. Forced tutorials for the first hour are like the games that have the subtle hints in the beginning that disappear as soon as you've shown that you get it. George Fan, he made Plants vs. Zombies, has a really neat lecture on how to do a tutorial. It's pretty neat and makes you appreciate games that blend the tutorial so well you can't tell you're in a tutorial. RPGs are my favorite genre of video game, but I'm sick of choice as a mechanic as it exists now. Your choices are almost always be a saint, and forgive the most evil Matherlova who has ever lived, or be the most evil person ever, and punch a baby in the face. It's almost always incredibly obvious what the results of your choices are going to be, before you make them. Worse, developers have tied skills and abilities your character can use to the choices you make. So if you choose not to rescue Timmy who fell down a well, good luck unlocking the next good guy power. Understand that coding more complex choices is prohibitive in terms of effort by the developers. But come on. At this point, I find the straightforward nature of old school Final Fantasy games refreshing. Even better, a choice between being saintly and self-sacrificing, or being selfish and mean. And being saintly and self-sacrificing gives you a better reward. There's no point in choosing the bad option. And choosing good is completely hollow, because you're not giving up anything. So even a player who doesn't care and just wants the best stuff is going to pick it as well. Yes. Even if it's just do good thing and potentially get rewarded versus do good thing, it's already enough to annoy me. At least give me some real incentive to not be the holiest Matherlova who ever walked the earth. This only happens 2 or 3 times in the game. And it's always on side missions I like. But Borderlands 2 had a couple choice missions, where your options were to take the mission item to one character or another to get different rewards. In one mission, Mordecai is trying to get shit-faced, so you go steal a bunch of Rakahul for him, and he says he'll give you one of his prized sniper rifles. On your way back, Mark-Xi wants to protect Mordecai from himself, and says you should bring the Rakahul back to her, and she'll give you her prized pistol. So even though Mark-Xi is probably the morally better choice, you could definitely take it to Mordecai instead and get a kick-ass sniper rifle. There's also a couple silly ones, like when you're collecting Bullimang fur and option 1 is to take it to Hammerlock so he can make it a hat, and option 2 is to give it to Claptrap so he can give himself a mohawk. Silly, but choices nonetheless. You also get to decode who wins the clan war. Playing an online game in Australia when there's no Oceania server. Oh man, I feel your pain. Our internet is bad enough as is, let alone when they make us play on 500 plus ping. After we spent 4 weeks downloading the day 120 GB patch. But no, we don't need NBN in a hurry. I must admit, when I got NBN my whole life got better. On a serious note though, a report came out recently that stated Australia has the worst internet for a developed country in the world. Like I know we are a big country, but that makes it even more important. Escort missions. To add on, escort missions where the person you are protecting likes to wander ahead of you while you try and clear enemies. You need to keep me alive. So I'm gonna spice it up and make your job as difficult and infuriating as possible. Dies. Oh. And I'm unarmed and can't deal damage to baddies and I have low HP. But that won't keep me from charging into battle with the ducking worst weapon in the game. I'm looking at you, Captain Keys. Recycled game element as the story progresses. Wait, haven't I seen this level before? Apostrophe. Funny. Those baddies look and fight a lot like ex-enemy from X level. Apostrophe. Also, overpowered enemies that should realistically be weak as shit. I'm tired of spending a game tracking down an informant only to find that he is 3x harder to kill than his army of trained hitmen. You'd hate gaming in the 80s, you know. Back when a palette swap meant a completely different guy. To be fair, I think that was necessitated by hardware limitations. That's why Scorpion and Sub-Zero are palette swaps. No local LAN on games. No split screens. Why have split screen when they could sell another game? Console and online play /s. In all honesty, I miss the days where you can see your friend get mad firsthand because you beat him and vice versa. Not able to alt tab, need to restart in order to change the graphics settings, especially when a restart takes ages, like in GTA V. Don't forget that while it's loading you can't be tabbed on anything else, or the game will pause its load and eventually give you the rocks to game services are not available at this time, then gulps you back to story. I hate the way most video games give you a stronger weapon, only to make the enemies stronger. You work your ass off for an upgrade or new badass weapon, only to find out that any new damage is cancelled out by enemies that can absorb more damage. What is the point? I also hate when some games give you the best weapon at the very end of the game, and you only get to use it for the final levels. One game that was very good in this aspect, Just Cause 2/3. They get it. As for the bit about final level weapons, I heard that Far Cry 3 alleviates your problem, and you unlock everything about halfway through the game. So you can spend the first half becoming a badass psychotic murderer, and the second half simply being a badass psychotic murderer. Far Cry 2 as well. Weapon unlocks were a completely separate set of missions from the main story that you could do whenever you want at whatever pace. Multiplayer achievements in mainly single player games. Thanks for making sure I can't get 100% on any game I purchase a year after release. The online scene is usually dead past the first few months. Stealth missions. Specifically, the ones that insta-fail if you break stealth. Even when you are powerful enough to easily defeat every guard that comes in response. Far Cry 3 did this sort of thing, right? If you want to take over a town and drive away the bad guys, if the enemies see you, they will sound the alarm to call for help. A minute or so later 15 more enemies will drive up in trucks, making things significantly harder. So if you were good with a sniper rifle, you could pick off the enemies one by one, watching out for their sightlines. Or you could try to shoot the alarm system panels, of which there may be several. A fully stealthy run was a reward for skill, not a requirement. In that aspect, it's like old school Sonic the Hedgehog. In Sonic 1/2/3 for Genesis, speed was a reward for skillful play, not a requirement to stay alive. You could, if you wanted, take 10 minimums 9 minutes 59 seconds to plot through the level. Or if you were good, you could blast through on the upper path and be done in a minute or less. Newer Sonic games however use lots of dashing along a wire type mechanics where, if you slow down at all you fall off and die. Not as good IMHO. You'd like Sonic Generations. They really translate that idea of upper path, middle path, bottom path very well. A whole lot of fun to replay. Generations was so good. Really took the original Sonic feel and turned it into something new without changing everything. Pointless waiting. Waiting isn't a compelling game mechanic. It only extends the length of the task at hand. The only time it's acceptable would be like Hitman or LA Noire style of games, where you gotta wait for a dude to do a thing, so you can go X. Otherwise it's complete bullshit. Found Erin Hansen. There's so much goddamned waiting. Cutscenes for simple actions like opening a door or hitting a switch. It makes no sense. It usually hides a loading screen. I know that's exactly what Resident Evil did for years. Life is Strange does the same thing. Metroid Prime series. When you shoot the door from a distance, the game started loading the room. Filler content. Oh. Before you can continue with the main story you need to kill 10th number of monsters Ed. Good luck. Apostrophe. You just triggered my starbound disappointment. Help. There's a huge emergency and we need you to you're wearing copper armor. Come back when you've got iron you pleb. Apostrophe. No. Yes. Instead of. Yes. No. Unless the question is, did you need me to repeat that? The ducking owl. Blah 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 blah. B. Blah 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 blah. B. Blah blah blah. B. Do you need me to repeat that? Apostrophe. B. Wait no. Blah 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 blah. Gaia. Game breaking glitch. After playing many hours. At that point I don't even want to replay. Looking at you Bethesda. Oh man. The glitch that stops you from earning an ending in Arkham Knight destroyed any chance of me ever buying another Rocksteady game. Fuck that. Worst part. I played 8 months after release. Still a game ending glitch in the game after so many patches and updates. Inexcusable. Got a similar glitch in Bioshock Infinite. About 95% through. Going to Comstock. Get in an elevator and get transported outside of it. Couldn't go anywhere. Tried loading an earlier save and it just did the same. Looked online and the fix was to delete the game and save files. I watched the ending on YouTube. Ouch. Worst part about the true ending of Arkham Knight I was trying to get thanks to having done all the side missions was that it was lame as shit. I'm sorta glad I just watched the end on YouTube. Incomplete releases. So a week/month after the release date, They are already selling the first DLC. This and day 1, 10 gig plus patches annoy the shit out of me. I have slow internet. When I bought Fallout 4 and found it only had 5 gig on the disk of the needed 16 gig. I just about took it back. Took me 12 hours to download that shit. There's a decking reason I buy the hard disks after all. Yeah. Did this for Skyrim. Attended a midnight release. Super excited to play it. Get home, where I had worse than dial-up internet, and stop. Had to wait a couple days until I could get over to a friend's house with my computer. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.